think we're good. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, the ITB Paladin. I'm coming at you with an update video because this has been long overdue. I just decided to scrap the old footage that I was working with because it was getting a little too hard to keep up with, but in this new footage, there's going to be a twofer. Not only is this just going to be an update video on the aim settings guide, so it's kind of like an attachment to it, but it's also quick, huge, and very, very, I don't know a word to describe it, but a very emotional and heartfelt thank you to you guys. So I want to say it was about a month ago at this point that I found out from one of the comments. In fact, I don't know if there's someone here. Yeah, I have to look at it again. But someone had made a comment, and I saw it, and it's like, hey, I came here because I saw your video on a social media site. I don't remember where he mentioned it. Might have been Facebook, might have been Instagram or something. I don't know. Wherever they shared my video, someone shared my video, and it had gained so much traction that it went from 7,000 views, which is where I left off at, to 30,000 views. So, again, huge thank you because you guys have made that possible. And I know that most of my subscribers are here because of that video by itself. So, huge thank you. You're going to probably notice my room's a little bit cleaner, so I feel very amped to do this video now. Twofer, like I mentioned, there's going to be an update to the aim settings guide, and then this is going to be a reading of the comments, because the comments are very well appreciated, and it kind of answers a couple of questions because people have been asking for my recommendations. And yeah, let's quickly get on to that. So go back over here. Perfect. Just want to make sure. The heck did it show in the back? Oh, my Xbox. Threw myself off of my Streamlabs. Okay, so this right here, I'm not going to make this like a thing that I do because this is going to be too much for me by myself to keep up with. If there's someone who would like to volunteer in editing this and keeping these settings together, if they're a little bit more involved with the game, by all means. But I basically separated it by aim settings and then the heroes on the left-hand side, as you can see over here. And then there's the 3 different pages going for damage, tanks, and supports, and obviously we have to add in... I don't think that there's any other hero to add in just yet. We have... Yeah, Ilari is the newer hero right now. Man, she feels weird to be in the game. I'll talk about that in another video. But let's talk about the settings for just a second. So, Overwatch decided that... Also enlarge my video real quick. So, Overwatch decided to introduce a personalization to aim settings that you could essentially now further customize your hero to be unique to you. And that essentially means that you can change up a couple of the things like your relative aim sensitivity with a weapon ability or aim down sights. So they added the whole thing with your abilities, being your ultimate. So in the case of, say, Roadhog or Soldier 76, with their ultimates, you can change their aim sensitivity while the ult is up. Or you can do stuff with your HUD, you can do stuff with toggling, which wasn't new, but they added a little bit more versatility, the cancel abilities, reload cancels, interact cancels, swap inputs, things of that nature. So you might see that there's color coordination. I did this for myself. This is not like an official, oh, this is what it is. No, it's for me. It was only meant for my eyes, but I'm sharing it so that you guys kind of have an idea of what's going through my mind when everything was going down. So red over here is just relative aim sensitivity. So heroes that have this adjustment, all of them are going to be in the green X's. I'm going to make this link available for everybody so they can see what it is that I input, but this also is subject to major changes on Blizzard's side. And again, I cannot keep up with it. I have a very huge daily routine of being a father and working my way into trying to do some training for my future job, career. So I'm not going to be able to upkeep with this, but this is a generalized idea anyway. So keep that in mind. Anything is subject to change on Blizzard's end anyway. So relative aim sensitivity. So a lot of these settings separated the way that they are. Let's just go setting by setting instead of hero by hero, otherwise we'll be here all the time. Relative aim sensitivity with a weapon ability or aim down sights. So again, you guys are going to have the pages available to you for what heroes are affected by which settings, or which settings are available for each hero. So, so the first thing I'm going to quickly note, for aim sensitivity, it's kind of like aim down sights for Widowmaker, Ana, and Ashe are the 3 biggest ones for that, but for like abilities and normal weapon aim down sights, not aim down sights, but regular third-person view perspectives, should you be changing your aim sensitivity? My recommendation is that you probably shouldn't for some of the generalized abilities. The way that when I explained my aim guide was dividing it between macro settings and micro settings. So unless it is something like aim down sights where your micro ability is going to be heavily hindered based upon the change of your screen, or even the nature of the ability itself, you might not need to do it. So in the instance, let me see if I can just show my screen here real quick. Quickly just hide that. Yeah, there we go. So for like Roadhog, for example, you might be able to get away with not, is this it? No, it's a little further down. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, here we go. Relative aim sensitivity during whole hog. I wouldn't say you'd need to change that because it doesn't really change the perspective of his aiming anyway. It doesn't change your visual perspective, so I would just leave that alone. But in the case of someone like Soldier 76, which his ultimate is different on the basis that he basically gets aimbot versus Roadhog where you still have to manually aim, you might consider upping the sensitivity a little bit. I haven't yet because I haven't messed with this setting just as of yet, but I plan on doing that in the near future, so we'll work on that as time goes on. But that's just kind of like one example of relative aim sensitivity. The next 4 pages, I'll bring this back up right now. UI sensitivity, or UI visibility, excuse me. Cancel, hide, my dyslexia is showing. Hide cancel text, hide timer text, and hide charge meter. So for instances of those guys, my advice is, if it's going to clutter your screen, by all means limit it. Don't take away the things that you absolutely need. So for like timers and charge meters, I would recommend leaving those alone because those only show up when the ability is used and then they get removed. So the less on your screen, the better, and the less you have to pay attention to, the less distraction. So for cancel text, as long as there's no fanciness and you're already aware of how to cancel your character's abilities, by all means, hide the text. If you still need it, it's not that big a deal. They don't make it that like distracting on the screen. But UI visibility is big for, say, Doomfist, Ramatra. They mentioned Sigma and Wrecking Ball by hiding the UI visibility of certain abilities. I would suggest actually removing them. Quite frankly, the less distraction you got, the better, and it helps with you focusing on your micro aim a little bit easier. So there's really no downside to it. I would totally recommend everybody to kind of use this to your advantage of removing distractions. As long as you're not distracted, your aim confidence should actually go back up, so it should help with your aim, not massively, but I would say it would help enough. Just in the back of your mind, it's subconsciously one less thing you have to pay attention to. Now we have toggle primary secondary fires, toggle melee during an ability, which only one hero has that right now, and I'll go into that in a minute, and toggle or hold ability. Now, toggle hold ability has always been there, so that's not being changed, but they added the ability to toggle or primary or secondary fires and toggle a quick melee during an ability finishing up, and again, the only one hero that has that is Wrecking Ball. I can explain that one further in depth a little bit later in another video if you guys want. I'm not a ball main, but the short of it is basically when he's transforming from his ball state to his out state where you get to shoot the cannons, it locks in your melee when you melee out of the ball form. So that way when he comes back up, he just automatically goes for the swing instead of you having to mash the button waiting for him to come back up. It basically ensures that you get it at the soonest possible time. That sounds like a really good setting to have on, quite frankly, but as for toggling and holding an ability, and toggling a primary and secondary fire, both of the advice I'm going to give for this, quite frankly, that depends on the hero and the nature of the ability being toggled or primary fired. So some instances, in fact, the hero that I can quickly use as an example for actually both, quite frankly, would be Reaper. So I actually have him set to hold to use Wraith form as keeping that the way it is. So it's toggled, so that way when I press it, he's automatically in Wraith form and he doesn't come out until I hit it again, or until the ability timer runs out. But I have the Shadow Step confirmation input, so that it's basically a press and hold, and as long as it locked in the location, he'll just teleport immediately. those are quality of life adjustments that you need to examine your hero and just make the decision. But I would suggest base it off the nature of the ability and see what is comfortable for you, but take into account before your comfort is even put into perspective. Understand that some abilities may get hindered, and this is also in a moment that you're calm. You need to account for times when things get chaotic in a team fight. So in the instance that the Wraith form, I realized, like, hey, if I have that based upon pressing and holding, I know that I'm going to panic in the middle of a chaotic team fight. So I'll probably unwraith before I want to, and it's going to hinder me. So I'd rather leave it toggled so that I can toggle back out, and I'd rather make that mistake because at worst, I stay invulnerable for a little while longer, and I'm probably able to make my escape. Versus Shadow Step, where having to get out of a chaotic situation, which is what most people usually do, it's easier to press, aim, hold, let go when I'm ready to teleport, versus toggle and press the button twice. It's like microseconds, but everything in this game is based off microseconds when it comes to team fights. So, by all means, this is just like a great example. You don't have to go with my Reaper settings. Just keep that in mind with all the other characters' abilities. And again, this list covers damage, support, and tank all together, so do as you see fit. Next is primary fire cancels secondary fire, reload cancels ability or ability cancels reload, and interact cancels ability. So a couple of heroes have this. I don't know off the top of my head without changing the list. So it looks like, yeah, interact cancels ability is Torbjorn has the one right there, and then going back over to tanks, we see that who's number 10 over here? Number 10 was Sigma, and then following that is Winston. So, same principle as the toggling and holding. What is going to flow better for your weapon? So for Winston, it kind of makes sense that when you're charging up your weapon for your secondary fire, that the primary should be able to interrupt it. God forbid you like get dove without realizing it. Like you're charging up a shot, like, oh, there's an enemy over at the distance. All of a sudden you get dove, and it's like, oh, no. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. I just opened up OBS by accident. I probably should just move that over. Exit, bro. Yes, close the program. I don't care. So, as I was mentioning before I got so rudely interrupted, so primary fire cancels secondary. It seems like a good thing to actually have. Again, my recommendation is based it off the abilities. Remember that this is going to be chaotic. So if you're expecting a hero to be like far away off, like a Genji, and you're just shooting him with your secondary fire, but he dashes in front of you, you probably don't want to just launch the secondary fire. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Give or take. Honestly, you just need to examine your hero's playstyle. And again, there's a couple of heroes that have these, so it's only like Winston and maybe like one or two other heroes. Honestly, you just need to weigh the pros and cons for yourself and see what works for yourself. I don't really have any real recommendations, but the general idea that I'm going to mention is that if it's practical or if it helps you get more value out of your ability, absolutely enable it or disable it, whatever works for you. But the general rule of thumb is, does it give you more value? And does it make it easier for you to get off your ability / your primary or secondary fire? Then we have these input swaps where swap X input with Y input. So it could be swap your primary and secondary fire buttons without having to actually manually do it. You could swap the cancel or confirm input. So like in the case of Moira, when she brings up her orbs, they mention like, oh, use this trigger for this one, use this trigger for that one, but you can actually change the confirm or cancel inputs to a different button. And then the primary fire input set to whatever it is that you're going to be able to do. In the case of Reaper here, if we just actually go back for a second, it mentions that Shadow Step confirmation input, that would actually be a case in this point. Where releasing ability 2, let me move this out of the way. Releasing ability 2 is an option, but so is using primary fire, secondary fire, or ability to press, or ability to release. So you have a couple of options here. And again, it just really depends on the ability and the nature of it. But I would, again, recommend, like, understand you're going to be in a chaotic team fight situation. That's the absolute worst case scenario. Go with whatever's comfortable and gives you the most amount of value. And then, really, the last thing to cover would be these guys right here in the purple. And the purple was like, they didn't have a specific spot, or at least off the quickness of me making this, they didn't have a specific spot. So you have like default rotation, automatic reload, and I'm just going to cover each one individually and give you a yay or nay based upon the nature of it. Default rotation. The heroes affected by that majorly are Mei, Symmetra, and Baptiste. For Baptiste and Symmetra, it's their ultimate. For Mei, it's her wall. Default rotation, I wouldn't change that, truth be told, unless there's a very particular reason and a playstyle that you go by that demands that it be changed the other way. But other than that, default rotation should probably be left alone. It is a nice option to have sometimes, but again, based on the nature of your playing, more often than not, you're probably just going to stick horizontal versus vertical, which would in turn automatically, when you press the ability button, it'll bring it up vertically. Automatic reload ability. So far, I don't think that there's any heroes besides Baptiste. No, they did put a couple of heroes in damage. And I know that Baptiste has it. Who else did they add? It's kind of weird. Either way, automatic reload ability. I want to say yes, you should probably have that enabled, but there's a couple of heroes that don't benefit from that, and I can't really eyeball who's number 6 through 10. 6 through 10 is Echo, Genji, Hanzo, Junkrat. Automatic reload's never really a bad thing. It just keeps you topped up at every time, so it might be beneficial. Honestly, just yay or nay, I don't really have an opinion. It doesn't affect Soldier 76, so it doesn't bother me too much. And it doesn't bother many of the heroes that I already have, so either way. Free look during barrier, only one hero is affected by this, Reinhardt. Absolutely enable that. Disable camera lock. So there's only one hero that has this as well, just like the other ability thing with quick melee automatically toggled. With Wrecking Ball, disable camera lock goes for Sombra. Absolutely disable the camera lock. Because what that means is that when you throw your translocator, you can't look anywhere in the middle of your ability usage. So you're locked into the viewpoint that you're looking and the way that you were going. So if you went the wrong angle and now you're just facing a wall when you teleported out, disable the camera lock, you'll be able to move freeform without any hindrance. Why they made that a thing, I don't know. Then there's the ability to hide the ring. I don't think that Lucio actually has that, does he? No, he does not have that. It's only with Sombra as well. I would enable that. It gives you a good idea of the distance that you need to keep away from people, and it's not visually distracting. It just kind of gives you an idea of, okay, if they pass that line or if they're close to that line, assume that they're going to see you. Toggle zoom, always been in the game, don't need to touch that. I would recommend not doing it because it locks you in place and keeps you static in animation for the enemy to basically freeform flank you. I wouldn't turn that on. Recoil aim composition. This was covered in the aim guide to a small extent, but the major thing here is that when you have the recoil compensation on, your screen doesn't shake as much. So you'll see your character basically do this, whereas if you turn it off, you kind of shift a little bit with your weapon, so it kind of distracts you, but it does give you a greater sense of feel for your weapon. In the cases of like McCree, Ashe, Widowmaker, it kind of helps to turn it off, so that way you can feel the vibration, and it's kind of like how your body instinctively knows what to do, and when you're in the like, it's kind of like how would I describe this? Really hope my daughter's not coming in, but it's kind of like if you're when you're driving and how you can feel the car when you move with it, versus like automatically remaining static and moving the car without trying to move your head. That's the easiest way that I could explain it. I would just say turn it off. But that's personal preference because it might also help with your confidence. If it's moving too much and it's a distraction, by all means, turn it on. Ability sensitivity. Is this the one that I think it is? I don't... Ability sensitivity. Let me take a look at Echo for a second because that's the hero that's popping up. Oh yes, ability sensitivity. So something like the duplicate or the hack sensitivity or the barrier sensitivity for Zarya. For those, that's kind of iffy. You really have to just mess around with that and find your comfort zone. There's really no right answer because everybody feels the game out differently. I would honestly say you gotta really mess with it. There's not really a yay or nay to that. That's not really an ability that you can just say yay or nay to, but yeah. Just experiment with it and find what's best for your comfort zone. That's the best advice I could give. Ability requires confirmation. So that would be with Echo's duplicate and Anna's, what's the name of it? Nano Boost. Those abilities require confirmation. I would absolutely encourage you guys to turn that on because God forbid you select the wrong hero, you get a get out of jail free card essentially. And it's no more than an extra button press, which is again a microsecond. Take into account what I mentioned before, this game's team fights are based on microseconds, so keep that in mind, take the risk. It's like, what's the risk trade-off? This is worth the trade-off. Making sure that you get the right target, absolutely. Friendly aim assist is for stuff. I think there's only like 2 heroes with that. Both support, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's going to be Anna and Ilari. I don't think any tanks have that, do they? Nope, no tanks have that. And then no DPS have that. So if it's only those 2 heroes, I'm going to say you should definitely have some sort of friendly aim assist if you're working on controller. Primarily because if you have it for the enemy, they're going to draw you anyway, but if your ally's in front of you, you might want to prioritize your ally. It's better to prioritize your ally on accident than the enemy on accident, so you should definitely have something on there. I'm not going to say put it up to 100%, otherwise that will definitely interfere with your aim, but just keep that in mind. Rise during ability would be for stuff like Ilari, Echo, Sigma, that you could toggle on their raising, like, you know how if you press the jump button you go higher? It'll automatically do that for you, supposedly. I don't play flying heroes, I actually couldn't tell you. I know that you can kind of toggle Pharah's jets and it's sort of the same difference. I'm just going to put this out there right now. Rise during an ability seems like a good thing, and I would recommend at least experimenting with it and see what it fits for you, but it seems like a very positive change, so I would say go for it. There's really no downside to it. And with that being said, that kind of covers off all the abilities. Now, again, this is subject to change from Blizzard's perspective, so I wouldn't say that this is kind of like a solid, like, yay or nay for a lot of things. Just experiment, quite honestly. I don't have any right answers. The right answer is the one that you feel most comfortable with. So now for the 2-parter. Going through your comments, because there's a couple of them that were talking about some of the aim settings, a couple of questions coming from people. I have no way of zooming in, so my apologies in advance, but I'll be reading the ones. I just got a comment there 7 days ago about my fruity gloves. Yeah, so the reason I wear the gloves in the first place, I'll quickly answer that question. I have the Elite controller and the rubber feels weird on my hands when they're bare. So wearing the gloves is like a barrier between my glove, between my hand and the controller. So when I sweat, it kind of feels weird. So the gloves kind of help mitigate that. So here's a question that was about 2 weeks ago. How do you find that sensitive calculator? I believe that they're talking about the PSA calculator. It's a great video. Going to attempt to change settings later. Any recommendations for Moira? So I'm going to give my answers now, but the calculator, the link should be in the description of my video in the previous one, and you find it there and there. I don't have a lot of and this is going to go for a lot of the comments. I don't have recommendations on hero settings. So when someone's asking, like, what is your settings for Sigma? The purpose of my video, and Sigma and other heroes, by the way, the purpose of my video is so that you understand what the settings do and how to apply them into your situation of finding your sensitivity. There was a point where I was getting like 30 and below % on sensitivity with like Soldier 76, with McCree, with Ash, and I was just basically getting really bad percentage. So what I did with this video was I examined the settings, and in those settings I basically examined what they did, how they accounted in your aim, and then put together my personal way of interpreting how they affected the aim for me and how I could hopefully relay that to you guys. So when you ask me for specific hero settings, I can't give you those. And I don't claim to be giving you those. What I claim to be doing is teaching you guys what each thing does in a detail that nobody else has provided at this time. So nobody's talked about these things. And I hope that you guys realize that this is not just going to be like, oh, my explanation is basically me being Moses bringing down the tablets. No. The interpretation's up. You can fit it in a way that you can understand and make a different metaphor for all the examples for each individual setting and what they do. And you'll have the slides in the comment section below as well. Not comment section, the description. So that's kind of like just something to put out there. I don't have any specific settings. I have recommendations, but you ultimately have to do what's comfortable for you, and that was the purpose of my video. There's a couple of thanks videos too, a couple of thanks comments like, thank you so much, bro, this really helped me, and as an Ana player who started doing really crappy on an average of 2 to 3 kills a match, I went up to 14 and 17 clipping air defenses and such just by watching this video today. Such an improvement in one day. So I should also note there was a comment here sooner than that, actually. It was roughly 2 months ago from this point in time. The individual who put the comment was saying like, yo, bro, you're saying your aim settings, you claim to be that this is fixing it, but yet we don't see any improvement. Trust me, there was massive improvement. I went from low 30s, like high 20s, to an immediate high 30s, low 40s. And that's being generous. I know I've improved up to about 50% at best from time to time, and I know that my aim's been kind of shot as of lately because I stopped playing the game, but ultimately when you get more comfortable and you can just shut your brain off to the finer motor functions and just instinctively go, not fully, we'll talk about that in another video, it does definitely improve, and I've definitely seen that there's an improvement for me, and I hope that there's improvement for everybody else as well. But improvement can happen, but you have to remember nothing replaces mechanical training. AE, playing every day, getting your hand accustomed to how you move, basically experiencing the game. There's no replacement for it. What's your sensitivity for Sigma? So I'll use this as a leeway to kind of, because I've changed my sensitivity a little bit too. But my sensitivity for heroes, let's go to Soldier 76. In fact, you know what? No, it'll cancel everything out. Let me not do that. So across all my heroes, let me bring up my Xbox real quick. So you'll see that I have my horizontal sensitivity at 49 and my vertical at 42. So I found this weird thing for me, that in increments of 7, everything is a little bit easier for me to tune. For some odd reason, 7 is per se the magical number for the formula for me. And at these sensitivities, I'm getting the best results, and I don't have to mess with it too much. If I feel like I'm going a little bit too fast, slow it down. Feel like I'm going too slow, speed up, and it's just right. It's just right. I've always tried by increments of 5, and it felt so wonky, but doing it by 7 felt weird. Maybe it's just placebo. I couldn't say for sure. But as far as hero sensitivities, I have my horizontal and vertical, as you can see, a little different from each other. Primarily because going up and down, you don't have to do that for too many heroes, but more heroes that have vertical movement, it doesn't really have that same feel as going horizontal. So if I did have to make one suggestion, if not by just a little bit, you don't have to do it too much. It could be by 5, it could be by 10, it could be by 15, whatever the difference you want to make. Separate the horizontal and vertical movements just a little bit, because your vertical movement, unless you're playing a hero that is constantly bouncing up and down, you don't really need it that high. So if you're playing a very mobile hero that bounces up and down like Pharah, Genji, D.Va, Doomfist, so on and so forth, you might want to consider turning it up, but you don't have to keep it in line with your horizontal. It's not, again, it's not a set solid foundation. You could maneuver it. You could feel free to do that. I don't know what this guy meant by this. Hooray, special ed. I guess he's saying how I guess it was an insult. I actually have no idea. But either way, I liked and thumbs up, because I'm just trying to bring some positivity here anyway. Don't understand the PSA method. Is it for when you do the 360 turn, or you keep measuring for that? So the PSA method outside of this video was to help determine a comfortable sensitivity to play on. But inside the video, I recommended doing it after the 360 degree turn, because the only reason that you did a 360 was to determine your turn speed at a set number. Again, you're just setting baselines and working up or down from that. So you account for your hardware, something that a lot of things don't mention. They're like, oh, always mess with your software settings. Have you ever taken into account that everybody's controller is different? I had a shorter stick up here and a longer stick here. What if I swapped it around? All of a sudden, okay, some things change. So accounting for your hardware is just as important, how it feels in your hand. How long does it take to turn a full 360 in 1 second? Again, it's just creating baselines so that you can work from them. Work from the ground up and build that pyramid with the chief cornerstone being the baseline. Very informative, straightforward, and helpful. The visuals are exactly what I needed. Greatly appreciate the feedback on that. I know that some people were mentioning that some of my visuals were off. Again, I threw them together as just my visual representation and how I would interpret it. If you find a better interpretation from someone else, use it. I'm not gospel here. Go ahead and find other sources. I'm not your only one. But if you find something better, I'm happy for you. I just threw it together to hopefully help you guys understand. So like, what are the... I keep getting these comments. I didn't actually notice this one when this one wasn't notified to me, but I'll give that a like. I'll reply to it real fast. What are your settings? Whatever you gather and are really hope. Yep. Okay, good. It's still recording. I don't have a way of putting a smiley face, so we're just gonna do that. You know what, I'll put a different reply. I actually want to give some thought to that. Let's see if there's another comment that I can... how to find aim assist widow. Oh, I'm going to have a couple of comments. I don't know why none of these notified. I've been getting notifications from everybody, and I've been liking and hearting just so that they know that I'm appreciative of the support. I'm just surprised that I'm missing some. Wow. I liked this video just for calling him McCree, as it should be. That debate's still going on. Yes, I still call McCree. I'm never calling him Cole Cassidy. Brain dead on behalf of Blizzard. Let's see. There are two things I wish I could have seen as an option: a decent dead zone setting and a field of view slider. Yeah, they needed to add those settings, but they just didn't bother with those. But those would help improve console immensely, for sure. Excellent video. I keep getting these compliments. Loses ranked game temp. I need to improve my aim. Opens YouTube to an hour-long video about aiming. Proof YouTube is listening. I'm glad that my video is gaining traction in this instance. I really just wanted to help people, but so happy and so like on Puerto Rican king. Oh shoot. I am Puerto Rican, though. That's a pretty quick answer that I can give right there. Never proved you... this is the video this is the comment that I was talking about. Never proved you have good aim straight bot. Never proved you have good aim straight bot. Trust me, my aim... and this is my response, I'm reading verbatim. Trust me, my aim improved. It's not an immediate miracle fix anyway. You still need to practice. Mechanical skill and control all come with playtime. No amount of guides can replace actual playtime. The guide isn't made to directly improve your aim. It is for you to find your ideal settings so that you know what everything is and what to adjust when you need. By extension, it indirectly helps your overall aim by tailoring your settings to your comfort zone. Yeah, I'm a straight bot. I got it. I haven't showed it. Overwatch 2 is dead. No, it's not. I respect your opinion, but no, it's not. I'll gladly admit this. If anything, the game is dying, but it is not dead. So I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm back to enjoying it because I've seen that they've made some improvements. I can't say I like it 100%. They could definitely do better. But I'm going to read like one more comment, one that would be good. Okay, here we go. Let's see. You could be a teacher. Great video. I have one comment. I'm going to put it to top comments later, but let me see. You, my good sir, are greatly appreciated. You're absolutely right saying that you should train with the sensitivity you like in aim guides, but they don't say, yeah. So again, I'm going to put one more comment, and then I'm going to quickly show my top comment, my favorite one that gives me the best belly laughs every time. Most aim guides don't really tailor to how you find it. They give a lot of the what's, and again, that was the purpose of my video. A lot of the time, they don't give you the how. And because they don't give you the how, it's like, why even mention the rest of the video? It's kind of stupid, and quite frankly, you should know better than just to be like, oh, you just need to find what's comfortable to you. Gee, thanks, Captain Obvious. It'd be great if you could actually elaborate on how I find those settings. You didn't even tell me what sensitivity was, and that's like the most obvious one out of there. I even explained it. But that was like the problem. I can tell you verbatim how it exactly happened. I'm playing my game, I'm on my desk, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I can find some aim guides, because I'm struggling with my aim. I watch a bunch of videos, and the thing that I gathered on the back end of it was, you're telling me the what's. You're not giving me the how's. And exactly how am I supposed to take what you're saying as what's unless you're giving me the how's and you're not giving me the how's? I know that just got a little confusing. I almost lost my train of thought with that one. Dyslexia. Woo! But all jokes aside, 110% serious, the thing that's getting me is like a lot of these guides just miss the premise. Like, you're not teaching them anything, you're telling them the obvious. And the purpose of my guide, and I hope that this has been the intended effect, that I hope that you guys grasped the concept that I was trying to put out there, which is that you guys need to understand the settings yourself. I cannot fix your settings for you. I cannot give you the miracle fix, and no other player, no matter how high a rank, no matter how much time they've played, unless they're giving you the tools necessary to climb and actually teach you, none of them are teaching you anything. You cannot replace your actual sensitivity with their sensitivity and get a miracle fix. There is no miracle fix. But as long as you understand what it is that needs... The first step in solving a problem is recognizing there is one. So when you immediately take the next step, which is implementing changes accordingly, that's where this guide is supposed to come in and help you explain it so that you know it. I'm hitting on 37 minutes, so I'm going to end it right here with the last comment. I don't want to make this another hour-long video. My favorite comment, absolute Giga Chad, a paragon of the community, and the hero we have always needed. I was in the middle of the supermarket when I laughed my ass off. I literally took out my phone, saw the comment, read it, and laughed in the middle of the supermarket. And that kind of leads me back as I end this video. You guys are incredible. Thank you very much for making it the success it is. Two things to quickly note. Number one, I'm still going to be making videos, but as I mentioned before, I'm integrating Christian content, so if you see in the next upcoming videos that I put out some Christian content, don't let that take you by surprise. I hope that it generates discussion, similar to how I do the video game videos. But the second thing is that I'm streaming over on LiveSpace. I'll be putting the link in my video descriptions from now on. It has been a very huge pleasure and a very easy site to kind of go on, but YouTube is trying to push me away. I won't stop making videos here, but I am definitely going to continue streaming on LiveSpace. So be sure to follow me there, follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be making more content and putting out more posts on those places, so please follow me on social media at Twitter or X, whatever you call it now. Follow me on LiveSpace so that you can keep up with my streaming. And with that being said, one last time, huge thank you to everybody who made my video a success. I do greatly appreciate all the support, and I hope that you guys will continue to support me in these endeavors. The next time Blizzard does something with an update, I'll be making a video for that. So thank you all again for all your time and for all your support. I appreciate every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. I really do mean that. ITP Paladin signing out. You guys have a good day.